Rise and shine, it's time for D is for drama. That's drama with the D. She puts the D in drama. Her guests will spill the tea. Tune into D is for drama. If gossip's what you need, it's time for D is for drama. That's drama with the D. D.
Drama with a D.
Is that the bit?
No. I'm just being a little bird. Usually I come in with the lunch.
It sounds like
That's
the
drama
version.
with the D. So I was like, what if I talk like this? What if I do a little guy?
Jake was like, I've got a bit for the top
That's
of
not
the
the
episode.
bit.
Just go with it. And I'm like, oh, that's not it.
I realized, like, when I started doing that, I was like, she's going to think this is the bit. And it's not the bit. And now everybody knows the bit's coming. But it's fine. It's not.
We're going to do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway. Keep going. We'll get there.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, everyone. We're back. It's just about 5 minutes later for us, but it's a whole week for you. So I know you've missed us.
Time traveling.
Time traveling.
You're back in my house.
Yep.
Take your shoes off.
Take your shoes off. Stay a while. Today, we're going to be talking about trolling.
And I'm so glad you brought me in for this one, Shannon. You're
Yes.
finally really getting into my wheelhouse, my expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Trolls are so underrated. These are, frankly, I think that this is one of the best enemies you can use as a dungeon master to really put your party on the heels.
Yes.
Okay, so trolls, something that I really enjoy about these as mobs in D&D is if you cause a certain amount of damage to a troll, to a specific limb, that limb gets cut off, right? But now that limb's sentient, that limb's active. So if you are attacking it to a certain point, that arm falls off, but now the arm's crawling across.
Wait,
the ground.
really?
Yeah, trolls.
When a troll takes your arm away?
Indeed, no, when you take a troll's arm off, that arm is now sentient and can come at you as its own thing, its own stat block. This was the bit. The bit was
no idea.
the bit was I want. It kind of blew up on the
trolls.
launch pad. It's fine. What's up?
No, I love trolls.
Of like the Trolls dolls variety.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The little gem on the belly button.
I don't trust them.
The hair.
The hair's fine. The hair's fine. Something about their faces. I don't know.
Well, those eyes, the beady little eyes.
Yeah.
Some of them are no good, but when they're cute, they're so cute. We had like a little baby one that was like on all fours.
Oh, God.
So cute.
They
like
move around at
crawling.
night. They come alive at night. Not in the Toy Story way either.
Not in a cute way.
I wouldn't let them in my house. That's all I'm saying.
No.
They're like one step below Furby.
Well, I think the trolls were the Furbies of our parents' age.
Yeah, or like the gen just before us because they were really
Gen
popular
X.
in the 80s.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Furby. Did you have a Furby?
I did not actually.
I didn't either. I was never interested in
Never
having
did.
one, but I knew people who had them, and those suckers would like wake up at
In
night
the middle of the night.
and
I was
start
like,
talking
no,
to you.
thank you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, thank you. What was their thing? Like, didn't you have to feed them? I know Tamagotchis was their thing, but I think Furby. You had
there
to
was
do something
with like I think there was some kind of feeding element, but you could teach it phrases, and I feel like a lot of toys of that millennium era, the like late 90s, early 2000s, there was a lot of use of microchips where it really hadn't been fully fleshed out yet.
Oh.
So it would be like, you can teach it phrases, you can teach it tricks, and it would kind of work and not really. And then it's like, surprise, it wakes itself up at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, and says the phrase.
Jessica,
Oh no.
put me outside, Jessica.
I know. And what was the point of them waking up in the middle of the night? Was it to like train you to learn how to be a mom? Is that what it is?
That's a wild take. They were
I don't starting the girls early.
I'm not sure if it was supposed to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's that kind of thing where like
It just worked out for the patriarchy.
I never thought of Furbies as gendered. I always thought of Furbies more as like the kids who were figuring themselves out still. Like, hey, you're not into Barbies? Oh, you don't really like action figures? How about this weird fuzzy coconut?
It was kind of somewhere in between.
Yeah, it's
So
like,
did you know guys that had Furbies? Because I thought it was a very girl thing.
I think little kids of all ages had Furbies.
Yeah,
I think like anywhere 3rd grade or under, you might have been a target
Okay,
for a
interesting.
Furby ad campaign.
Yeah.
Furbies were kind of trolls because waking up in the middle of the night to bother you with shit you don't want to hear.
That's true.
And we brought it full
And
circle,
we brought
folks.
it back.
They thought
we
it
were
was like,
never
what
gonna get
what the fuck are they
there.
talking about? They can tell it's the second one we recorded.
Yes.
Because we're goofing.
We're on one. So yes, today we were going to be talking about trolling.
Hot topic, trolling.
Hot topic. So we've got one here from The Guardian. You be the judge.
Thank you for everything that you do for our city.
That's right.
The Guardian.
The Guardian. This is the English website. What is it called?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It's
very
the British version of me.
Yeah.
Jacob Tuesday.
Jacob Tuesday. So we got here, you be the judge. Should my boyfriend stop trolling right-wing social media accounts?
Okay.
The prosecution, Nelly. Gabriel, my boyfriend of 7 years, is an internet troll, and I don't find it cute. When we met, he was already chronically online as he worked in social media and made content for YouTube and TikTok on the side. I didn't have a problem with it as he was focused on making sports content, but now he trolls all kinds of people. At first, I liked dating someone who could communicate in memes and discuss latest podcast drama. Shout out. But now it's getting out of hand. It's not that I necessarily have a problem with who he trolls. It's often horrible politicians or anonymous racist accounts, but I don't think it's good for him. He trolls a lot of people, and I think it consumes him. One night during lockdown, he stayed up late arguing with conspiracy theorists on Twitter. I told him to go to bed, but he couldn't stop. Another time, he went viral for trolling a sexist football player. He loves the attention. I think he's usually on the right side of history, and I've never seen him write anything that I don't agree with, but I also think it's quite weird. Who wants their boyfriend to be a top troller? It doesn't impact the world in a positive way. If Gabriel wins a fight online, what difference does it make to anyone's life? He gets a kick out of being blocked or getting a reaction. Being online that much is not sexy or how grown men should behave. Gabriel says I'm being sexist, but seeing my boyfriend's tweets getting shared on meme accounts gives me the ick. I can't help it. He has the right to defend himself on his own accounts, but he also makes these secret burner accounts to reply to people, and that isn't healthy. There are a lot of weirdos out there, and you will never win. Gabriel spends too much time online, and I can hear him watching videos on his phone when he goes for a shower. I don't know how many burner accounts he has, but I know it's a few per app. He tells me it's just a laugh, but I think he needs to log off. All right, so we'll discuss her side first, and then we'll get to his.
Yeah.
Well, my number one rule when it comes to having any sort of social media account is that I have my face and my name, or like my podcast name, like have to be on it, because I never want to get down that making a habit of commenting anonymously.
Yeah.
That's why I barely even interact with people on Reddit either, because I think it's such a slippery slope because, you know, I'll be watching a video sometimes and I think I have a really negative opinion of it. And sometimes I'll like maybe think like, oh, I should comment that. But then I'm like, no, what is, or like even not even negative, but like annoyingly trying to correct someone.
Yeah.
Because that's normally what, if I have like a negative comment, it would be like, actually, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it very much holds me accountable to be a kind person online and not have that like initial, like, what is it, like keyboard, like, or I don't know, like
keyboard warrior.
Yeah, or like where it's just like an immediate like trigger kind of like.
Yeah.
Where it keeps me accountable that I have to back up anything that I say.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I think that's a good policy. And you have to be on for what you're doing, for your line of work, the projects that you're doing. You do have to engage.
Yes.
I personally, I think near the tail end of college, just adopted a personal rule. I just don't comment. I don't comment on anything other than
even
replying
positively?
to people that comment on things that I post.
Yes.
That's it. That's the only time I will ever be in a comment section. And then around my mid-20s, I just stopped reading comments altogether.
Yeah.
It's like the only exception being if I post, you know, I've been dabbling more in dumb comedy content that I'm producing. So I'll read stuff that people comment on that because they took the time to write it.
Yes.
But I don't engage with anything that's negative or inflammatory or whatever.
And I've made that mistake before and it doesn't go well.
I think it is a really, really, really good rule of thumb to just never engage in this kind of rhetoric, because you can tell yourself all you want, oh, I'm getting a reaction, I'm getting the best of them, I'm winning the argument. You're the one responding.
Yeah.
You are inherently the secondary in this equation. So you can pat yourself on the back all you want for winning the argument, but who cares? Because nobody's ever going to nobody else besides you and this person.
Yeah. And you're never going to change their mind.
You're never going to change their mind. You're just going to dig their heels in more. And I just think it is an absolute waste of your energy. And it sounds like this cat has a good skill set, but he's using it for the dumbest possible purpose.
Yeah.
You just like, and I'm vehemently against right-wing fascism, all the like the dumb toxic bullshit that's coming out of the manosphere right now. I fucking hate those dudes. But you're not about to see me in Clavicular's comments making fun of the dude. He's doing a great job on that on his own. Joe Rogan nobody can make Joe Rogan look like as big of an ass as Joe Rogan does every time he opens up his mouth. And if you're in those comment sections trying to get a reaction out of him or his followers or whatever else, you're just making them more money.
Yeah.
And that's something you have to always keep in mind. If you really don't like these people, you're making them money just by engaging, no matter how you explain it.
Exactly.
It's a bad, you are losing. You are the loser. The second you're engaging, you've lost.
There's definitely been a handful of times, especially like during election season, especially the past few elections, where I would like get like I would respond and it would be like a jerk response. And then them responding back, it would just, I mean, it would give me so much anxiety, and, you know, they're always trying to best me. And every time I'm like, why did I do that? And then I just learned to do not engage.
So if you never start, you can't lose.
But the interesting thing is I think that my reaction is that I have a lot of anxiety around it. I can imagine yours would be that too, where it doesn't feel good. This guy's like getting off on it.
No, yeah, clearly. And that's where, you know, I think if you have that much energy and you have that much desire to create and to get responses from people, make content.
Yeah.
You control the story because you're the one saying what you have to say. But if you're always just chirping at other people, you're not creating anything. You're just contributing to their channel. You're just giving them more content.
Exactly. So if you want to like make the world a better place by like teaching people, start your own whatever TikTok that spreads the good word.
And that's clearly not what this guy is going after.
Do that.
And look, I don't want to throw this out willy-nilly because I feel like it's something that people just do online now, but I feel pretty justified in saying this. Girl, run.
From the guy.
Get out. Get out. If this dude is like, I hear it in what you have typed. You are not into this.
No, and he's so chronically online. I understand why that would be the ick. I mean, you know, I'm chronically online as well, but not to this extent.
The power that comes across in being unfazed by things, the power that you display by not letting it, like, you know, this guy claims he gets such a joy out of getting blocked or getting a reaction. You hold so much more power by not being bothered by anything in the first place that it's weird to me to try to spin that into like, haha, I'm getting reactions. And it's like, you should be trying to get reactions in the positive from your partner, from your social sphere, from professional outlets. Like, there's so many other things you could be doing with your time. And I really don't understand why people do this. And this is something that's really important to remember. 9 times out of 10, when you're engaging with these kind of people, they're bots or they're 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
So do you really want to be arguing with a chat bot or a kid who's a child?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I eventually got myself to stop ever engaging in comments, because I just started realizing, like, who has enough time in their day to keep track of an argument they're in the comment section?
Yes.
Kids and robots. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you are an adult and you have the time to do this, you got to reevaluate your priorities, because you really shouldn't have the time to do this kind of thing.
Yeah. Does she mention if he works at all?
I mean, it sounds like his job is
social.
content.
Oh, right. You're right.
And that's fine. And that does, like, it's like I was saying with you have to be engaged in your comment sections.
Yeah.
That's not something that's optional for you because you're trying to grow your brand. But you still shouldn't, like, that to me is the same thing as, like, it would be like me saying that I'm using my professional working day if I was responding to mass emails I get from, sales software that it's not even my job in the company to decide if we're going to use.
Right.
And it's like, oh yeah, I took 2 hours out of my day to respond to the 50 spam emails I got from Sales Outlooker 0.50 that's clearly just like a mass sent email being like, we think you'd really see prospect generation if you got on our platform. Like, you're clearly talking to a robot. You're wasting your time. Again, like, hey man, I'm upset about the way the world is too with the alt-right and the manosphere and all that shit. You're not making an impact doing this. Again, you're just making money for them.
Yeah.
So if you really feel that strongly, sit down with a pen and paper, get in front of a storyboard, get in front of a flow chart, and start figuring out what your content is, and then start making that. And it's a lot harder than responding to comments.
Yeah.
But that, if you...
Actually...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering if... Because it says he makes content for YouTube and TikTok on the side. But I'm wondering if it's people in his comment section. Because if that's the case, then they're making him money. It said that he was
going after right-wing athletes.
Oh, yeah. He made a comment about a sexist footballer. He went viral for trolling a sexist footballer. So that's what I'm wondering. Is it a TikTok of his and he's trolling the footballer? And then, because then I guess if he's in the comments of his own, that is kind of building up his brand.
Yeah.
So does that make it?
But is it like, okay, look, if that's what it is and that's really what you want to do, all right.
Yeah.
But
it's just toxic.
It's toxic for yourself.
Exactly. Well,
you're living in this mindset, like that's going to eat at you.
I mean, for the longest time, I think he's a little better about it now, but my dad was just like, he was like obsessed.
Facebook?
And TikTok for a little while.
Oh, really? I don't hear about that gen on TikTok too much. Okay.
Yeah. And then also just having the news on 24/7. And he's on the right side of history.
Right,
as
but
far
it's still
as
the 24/7 news cycle is still not good for anybody.
No, it wasn't. And it was like, my mom was just getting so frustrated with it just being on all the time, where it was like, and he was just obsessed with his like hatred for Trump, basically.
We've talked about, I think we've talked about this before. I'm not, the long story short, I'm not watching professional wrestling as much as I used to, but to me that's theater, and that is a form of entertainment. It's theater with stunt fighting, and I think it's a beautiful art form. But I think that there's a lot of similarities in the days where professional wrestling was trying to convince you that it was real, because that was a key element to the business. And then we're talking, this is like way back in the 70s and the 80s and before that.
Right.
And it would, the phrase would be getting worked. You worked the audience. You made them think it was real, right?
Okay.
You worked the marks. That is to a T what the 24/7 news cycle, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, they're all using the same playbook.
Yes.
They're working marks. They're doing things intentionally to get them upset so that they pay the ticket, so that they keep their eyes on the promotion, so that they keep their eyes watching the action in the ring, and they keep that money flowing in from the marks.
Yeah.
So regardless if you're a hardcore leftist, if you're a 3-time Trump voter, if you're locked into that 24/7 news cycle and you're engaging in these conversations where you're trying to upset, you're trying to own the libs, or you're trying to troll the right or whatever, you're a mark.
Yeah.
You're giving them your money and your energy, and they're profiting off of you.
Well, exactly the same thing with this guy in the comment.
Yeah.
Supposedly in the comment section of these right wing, is again like same fucking thing.
I really, really sympathize. I guess maybe empathize is the better word with OP, because I've always found it to be a massive turnoff with the women that I've dated when they get really, really upset and locked in over something completely trivial that has nothing to do with them.
You mean like in the zeitgeist?
In the zeitgeist, or just
pop culture?
Pop culture. Yeah, like if you're actually letting something that doesn't have anything to do with you, like one thing
to be into the drama of it, but to like let it affect
actually
you,
let it affect your mood.
crazy.
And that was something that was like big for Jackie early on when we dated, because the only exposure she had ever had to men who are sports fans was
Oh.
screaming at the television, being in a bad mood when the sports didn't go their way that
You
day.
know how I feel about that.
No, and I find that to be really repulsive. And like
Yes.
I don't have any friends who react to sports like that. I've had friends who have had moments like they've had, they have had a less than desirable moment where they were really invested in something and it just didn't go their way.
Yeah.
But like it is impossible for sports to affect me like that at this stage of my life. I think the last time I ever let sports put me in a bad mood, I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
And even at 14, I recognize like I hate this.
Yes.
I'm never, if I ever let sports affect me like this again, I need to stop watching.
yeah.
And so now it's just something where on a good day, it's great.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll let it put me in a good mood for sure.
And it's okay if you're a little disappointed.
Being bummed, like, I'm a Denver Broncos fan. I was really bummed when Bo Nix broke his ankle after he won a great playoff game, and it meant we weren't going to have him for the rest of the playoffs.
Exactly.
But I was also on a vacation with our friends.
Yeah.
And I gave myself 10 minutes to just be like, rats.
Yeah.
And then went right back to having a good time.
Exactly.
And I know this feels a little bit like a tangent, but to me, it is really the same thing, because part of the reason why the world is so fucked up right now is we've let politics and the 24/7 news cycle trick us into treating it the way that we treat sports and the way that we treat professional wrestling, because it's about the bad guy losing and it's about the good guy winning. And we're not talking about politics the way that it should be, which is boring as fuck, mandatory operation of the checks and balances that run the world that we all live in.
Oh, I love the question. Who's your favorite politician? My favorite politician? I don't have one.
I'm trying to think if I have ever had a politician that I actually like.
Never once.
No.
When I was a kid, I liked John Quincy Adams because I liked his name, and I made up a song for him.
Do you remember the song?
Oh, yeah.
What's the song?
John Quincy Adams, Quincy Adams, Quincy Adams, John Quincy Adams, Quincy Adams. And that's it.
That's it. That's more of a jingle.
No lyrics.
There's a lyric. It's a jingle, though.
It's definitely something.
Yeah, I
used to go around the halls singing it. All right, let's get his side, because, maybe
he has a side.
Points. Yeah.
Okay.
The defense, Gabriel. Being chronically online isn't a crime, and neither is putting the world to rights in the comments section. Nellie is right. I do get a rush of fighting with idiots, but only because there are so many of them out there. They need to be told. Online laws are too lax. Anyone can create an account and send racist or a sexist abuse. There's no control or repercussions. So if I can help make the world a better place by calling that behavior out, I'll do it. I don't just start fights for the sake of it. I also block and report really nasty stuff. I work in social media and have my own official accounts where I make content about sports. Okay. I spend a lot of time online. It's a big part of my personality. I've made money online, and I've seen how going viral can really change people's lives. When something of mine goes viral, I do get a bit giddy. Nellie used to get excited too. Other times it feels a bit much because the comments are nonstop. I have learned not to take the nasty stuff personally, though. I don't make as much content now because I don't have the time, but I took it really seriously in lockdown when we were home a lot. I made my burner accounts after experiencing trolling. When I replied, I got in trouble with the apps for being, quote, abusive. Once, my TikTok was shut down. I then realized I could make burner accounts and fight the trolls anonymously without jeopardizing my main account. That's why I have so many. Nellie doesn't like me replying to anyone online. She thinks it's a waste of time, but I disagree. I wouldn't let someone call me incompetent or ugly in real life, so why would I let it slide online? When people block me, I think, haha, got you, you coward. Nellie is online, but not as much as me. Sometimes I'll quote a meme or a video and she will say, I don't know what you're on about. So I save it for my work colleagues. Recently, I got into a fight with a former footballer who was being sexist. He blocked me and I loved it. I don't think I need to delete my burner accounts, and I don't take anything too far. If anything, it's community service.
Initially, at the top, argues that because he's willing to block people, that shows that he has a grip on this. But then on the flip side of that, anytime somebody blocks him, he's won.
Like, you coward.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Aren't you just waving the white flag by that logic when you block somebody, but you're using that as an argument that it's good when you do it because it shows that you have a grip on this? This sounds a lot like somebody rationalizing addiction. This sounds like somebody who's explaining why, oh, well, it's actually okay how much I'm drinking because I never drink and drive, and I never drink at times where it's impairing. Like, dude, if you have to use that many words and you have that many excuses ready to go for this, then yeah, you have a problem.
Yeah.
You're talking about yourself like you're Captain America, like fighting the good fight. You're not having an impact on anyone. And I really don't like the phrase, I don't let anybody talk to me like that. You can't stop anyone from talking to you anyway. You can respond to it.
Yeah.
You can choose to punch somebody in the face for talking to you a certain way, but they still talk to you that way. And yeah, you can give them a repercussion if you want, and you want to risk legal trouble and you want to potentially ruin your life by throwing a punch, then okay, but you're still letting them talk to you that way.
And because you're responding.
Right. But no, it's like, there's no way to stop anybody from talking to you any kind of way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't preemptively prevent somebody from.
But by responding to it, you're giving it
more merit, but you're also not negating anything that they said. You're just responding to it.
Yeah.
So like this idea of, I wouldn't let them do that to me in real life. And then, like we just said, you would never be in this situation in a real life because you're arguing with a robot.
I mean, they could be real people.
They could be.
But either way, you're arguing with somebody who you're never going to agree with.
Have you heard about dead internet theory?
No.
It's I fully subscribe to this, and I think that it is very, very real for the most part. But the idea is that we passed a tipping point with the internet a while ago, like a ways back. I can't remember the exact year that it was, somewhere shortly after 2010, where at a certain point there's more automated feedback, content creation, and just bots online than there are people. And with every passing year, and at this point, every passing day, especially with the rise of AI and the fact that AIs can now create chatbots on their own, and it's a Cascadian flow of more and more coming into fruition. Every time you're engaging online, there's less and less real people behind all of that. And obviously there are still real people online, especially on social media, but comment sections, even a lot of the Instagram profiles, TikToks, all of that, it's not actually real people. And sometimes it'll be a real person controlling 8 TikToks.
Yeah.
Like this guy. This dude is talking about his own playbook of having all these burner accounts.
That's true.
And at a certain point, man, if you're just trolling, you're a bot. Because this isn't you. This isn't, you're not presenting yourself as a real accountable person.
Yeah, you're not putting your face.
Right. Like you were saying, you're not owning what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is not actually real.
That's true. And people aren't even, they're not going to listen to you even more because you have no profile picture up. You're not backing up your own.
Exactly.
Words.
And it's honestly very sad and heartbreaking to hear somebody talking about this the way that they are, where it sounds like this dude really thinks he's making a difference in the world.
Yeah.
And I think something that you and I have both realized, a very freeing realization to have, is that no one's ever looking at you.
Yeah.
No one's ever really paying attention to anybody else.
Yeah.
And this simulates the rush and the idea that people are paying attention to you.
Which hurts my feelings, honestly, because I think everyone should be paying attention to me.
People do pay attention to Shan.
Few.
But we do, like,
I'm the one exception to the rule.
We do have these moments where we do get to genuinely be in the spotlight. But those are in real moments. Those are in moments where we are displaying our skills. We are showing what we are good at.
Yes.
We are sharing truth and earnestness about ourselves with the world. And when you're just in a comment section trying to make somebody else mad, you're just yelling into the void that I am here and I exist. And there are better ways to find that feeling.
Yeah, Vanessa 32 here says, I find it disheartening that about 99% of online comments seem to be hateful. And I also feel the temptation to respond, but it isn't vigilante community service. It only feeds the trolls' desperation for a reaction. Engaging with hate has to be detrimental to Gabriel's mental health and relationships. One day he will probably cringe at himself for doing this.
I can never remember I've been locked into a particular media source that really plays on this idea, and I can never remember the Nietzsche quote in full, but the tail end of it is very famous for if you stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss stares back.
Mm.
The first part of that quote, and I can't even hack a guess at how it's exactly phrased, but it's something about if you engage in fighting monsters in the techniques that the monsters use to fight,
Yeah.
you inevitably become one of the monsters that you're fighting.
Yes.
That's what's happening here.
Well, isn't that basically the saying? You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself.
It's an offshoot of it, yeah.
Yeah.
From The Dark Knight, Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face. I almost called him Harvey Keitel. That is not his name. Harvey Dent. Harvey Keitel is an actor.
Real man.
But yeah, that I think that is what we're looking at with this dude, where you can explain till you're blue in the face all the ways how what you're doing is good, and like it's funny you brought up Batman because he sounds like Batman. I'm gonna use fear of my enemy to turn them, and it's just like, no, dude, you're just arguing with teenagers and robots. And it's like, hey, man, I'm glad you took that one sexist footballer to task. Good for you. It had absolutely zero impact on his life, besides maybe he made a couple more bucks on whatever revenue stream he has on his socials that month.
I need to remember that more often, that like there are some bots out there, because especially on TikTok, like the comments are so funny.
I tried to get on TikTok for a little bit and I just couldn't do it.
It
was like something about the way that the algorithm worked. I could tell, like, your phone's always listening, but the TikTok one was just like, it was pulling shit clearly right out of my text threads with friends, and I was really put off by it. So like, I don't know. I get it. That's the one to be on. I just can't do it.
Yeah. No judgment there. I should be off of it. I try.
But again, this is what you're doing, and I
can't log into my TikTok right now. I can't figure it out.
Oh, really? Oh,
so I'm logged out. No videos over there.
Okay.
So I guess I have to be.
Problem solved.
The universe is solving it for me. But the comments are very funny. Like, people are usually very funny reactions to the videos, but the original comments will be really funny, but then you click into the comment and it's very toxic, because it's most of the time people not understanding the joke.
Yeah.
And then it's very mean back and forth. And so that I always have to make sure I don't click into that. But I do have to try and remember that there are more bots out there than I even realize.
A recent video of mine went viral in a very, very small way. I'm not bragging about that, but it was the first time I'd ever put anything up where like a lot of people started engaging with it, right? And almost all of the comments were a lot of like people jumping in on the joke, really enjoying it and like having fun. And there wasn't even anything outright toxic, but there were a few comments that I just said I don't read comments, but as I also said, I will. If it was something I made, I'll just go through them and see what people are saying.
Yeah.
There were a few that seemed really weird to me, because it was like they were trying to start an argument but couldn't figure out how to do it. Okay. Like one recently just said something to the extent of like, wow, you really have an axe to grind. And it's like, you could read that in a lot of ways. That could be read as a joke. It could have been, but I didn't respond to it. I didn't engage with it. But it was one where it was like, this feels like a bot that's just designed to start an argument and doesn't know how to start an argument on this, because I'm talking about a fucking fast food chain on PCH1. Like, there's nothing to argue about.
Yeah. So you just didn't respond.
No, of course not. But I had, like, if stuff was positive and people were jumping in on the joke, I wouldn't engage with that. But yeah, like, I just don't see what I think unfortunately, your brain is producing endorphins at this point.
Yeah.
When you're arguing, and that's a massive turnoff.
Yeah.
That's bad that your brain is giving you happy chemicals for being upset.
Stuff. Yeah.
You can talk about how much of a rush this gives you, but you're still activating anger and annoyance, and like, you need that in order to stay in the zone for these things.
Yeah, it's true. It is. Yeah, it's a very toxic cycle that he's in. It cannot be good for his mental health, and I can understand why she's concerned. Not just for her, like herself getting the ick about him, but for, like, that he's not being healthy to himself. Right.
No, she sounds really worried about him. It doesn't
Yeah.
sound like it's just like I think the ick is a really good phrase for, getting across simple annoyance and all that. But I do, like all slang, eventually it becomes so homogenized that we're not getting any effective communication out of it anymore.
Yeah.
I feel that way a lot about low key now. Low key now is just like low key. That fire truck is red.
Yeah.
That fire truck's just red, dude. Like,
I know, you just put it in front of anything, honestly.
yeah, it's so, and I think the ick has kind of become this thing where it's like, you can just say you don't like something about it, but it is an effective way of like, if somebody does something that's just like a little, so there's not anything wrong with it, but something about it you just didn't like.
Yeah.
This isn't an ick situation to me. This is
He needs
I'm
to get out of this
concerned.
cycle.
I'm concerned for your well-being that
Yeah.
you keep doing this.
Exactly. So we're definitely on your side, girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I made the joke girl run to the dude. You need help because this is not a good place for you to be living, especially if you're a professional in this space. You can't be a professional in this space and be a mark.
Yeah.
Those two things don't work. So
Yeah,
you got to get a
true.
handle on that. You got to be working marks. You got to be making content that people are coming to you to try to get reactions
Yeah.
out of you, and then don't.
And spread the good word that way and not in the comments.
Right.
Because no one's going to take you seriously then. Put your face to it, buddy. All right. AITA for trolling telemarketer scammers.
Okay, I'm excited for this one.
So we get a lot of calls from telemarketing scammers, and I have some fun with it. I act like I'm this clueless idiot who does not know what I am doing and just plays along with them for like 20 minutes. I have my laughs and I waste their time. However, my mom gets mad at me for doing this and says, quote, they are just doing their jobs. And I said, well, their jobs are literally to steal money from innocent people. And she keeps calling me an asshole for doing this. I never curse or yell at them. I just act clueless and try to waste their time as much as possible. So AITA.
So I have some personal experience with this, but
Okay,
I think
tell me.
we've talked about it before on air. We've talked about enough stuff. I can never remember what we have and haven't touched on.
Same.
But at one point, I had a job at a real estate company, and it was pretty entry level. And part of that job was going through old housing listings and calling people whose houses used to be on the market and got taken off the market because they didn't sell.
Mm.
And you would roll calls calling these people.
Okay.
And if their name is on your list, that means their name is on everybody's list. So they would get a lot of calls about this listing all the time. And very often you get the I want my name taken off your list, and I would always take the name off the list.
Yes.
Part of the way that I did this, and I was better at, I don't want to pat myself on the back, I was better at this than most. I got more meetings than pretty much anybody else at the operation was getting, because I opened up every time by saying, I wouldn't wait to ask if it was their name. I would say, like, let's just say their name was Robert. Hi, Robert. My name's Jake Davis. I don't want to take up any of your time. I am a telemarketer calling you about a real estate opportunity and the listing that you had for your home that is no longer off. If you don't want to talk to me anymore, you can hang up, and I'll take that as an indication you want me to remove your name off the list.
Yeah.
May I have a moment of your time? That was really wordy. I had it much more effective at that point.
Yeah, but that kind of.
And it would disarm people enough to just be like, and sometimes they would still cuss me out. Sometimes they would still hang up on me or just be like,
oh my God.
but a lot of the times they would still just be like, I appreciate you being forthcoming about that. Please take me off your list.
Yes.
But 5 out of 50 times I'd get a conversation going with them.
Okay.
And then 1 out of those 5, we'd get a meeting.
It's kind of
with
a
them.
numbers game.
It was absolutely a numbers
but
game.
it's just the abuse that telemarketers
And that's
get.
so like both my bio dad, my mom, my stepdad, all three of, actually no, my stepdad never did this, but my mom and my bio dad would go off on like give them the like, we're actually sitting down to dinner right now
I
kind of thing,
know.
that. And when I took this to my mom and she started thinking about it like, oh, that's my son on the other line.
Exactly.
That's my son. But here's the difference, because then it's a big difference.
Yeah.
I wasn't scamming.
Exactly.
I was doing an annoying job
exactly
that wasn't tricking anybody into doing anything.
Yes.
I don't get calls like this anymore. And when I do, I just hang up because
Yeah.
I just don't. But I get a lot of texts about this.
Mhm.
And I do fuck around with the texts from
you
time to
do?
time.
Because I always thought that if you answer, you like put yourself.
Well, it depends,
in
because sometimes
vulnerable-
it's what I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called like butchering. It's like a butcher scam or something.
Yeah.
Where like it starts with like, they'll start with like a random like, hey, are we still meeting at noon on
Yes.
Tuesday? And if you
Hey,
engage
where
at all,
are you?
and if you engage at all with those,
can get
you're
your info,
they're
right?
so those I just
Yeah,
I
okay.
just block. But
Which
then
ones?
what?
Which ones can you engage with?
The ones that you can engage with are texts that are like it'll basically be standard telemarketing, but just done through text.
Oh,
It'll be
okay,
selling a
okay.
product or whatever.
Gotcha.
And those I'll do things like, I'm so glad you reached out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually do need high speed internet. I need it right now. And it's
Right
like
this
right now.
second.
And it's like, well, we can do install on Wednesday. That's not soon enough, James. That's not soon enough. I need it today. And like, and eventually it just goes like five exchanges or whatever, and then it's over because they figure out I'm fucking with them.
I used to fuck with the ones that would send like the dirty ones.
I've never gotten any of those. Yeah,
I would get one. I don't even remember. This must have been like definitely pre-pandemic. It would be like random texts that were like, "Will you meet me here, hottie?" Like,
oh wow, I've
big
never gotten one of
boy.
those in my
And
life.
so I would like respond
Okay.
there, but I don't think it was like getting my information. But now I just ignore them. But yeah, especially when they're scammers. Like I don't have any
No,
empathy,
scammers
do
don't-
whatever.
yeah.
But with regular telemarketers, like I remember this editor that used to edit my web edited my web series. He's doing a lot better now, but he used to have a lot of really bad mental health issues. So I think this was kind of like an addiction, and so this is one of the ways that it like came out where like he was really getting spammed with telemarketer stuff. His number must have accidentally gotten on a list or something. And I'd be sitting there and we'd be editing and he would get them and he would just curse them out. Like I've never heard anyone curse people out in my life. And I was like, I didn't know him well enough to be like, Jesus Christ. But it was it was uncomfortable for me because a man yelling like that in my presence is like I'm not going to feel safe.
Yeah.
But I was just like, Jesus Christ, like these are people trying to do their jobs.
And you just kind of hit the nail on the head where when you are responding like that, it's because you're upset about something else.
Yes.
And you're taking it out on somebody that you have a perceived ability to do it to, consequence free.
Right.
And that last situation we were just reading on, he brought up, oh, well, there's no consequences for it. That's not a good reason to do something. I won't face any consequences for doing this. It's like, yeah, you won't face any consequences for doing a lot of things that are shitty. That's not a reason to do it, but especially just yelling at people. And I get it more with scammers, but it comes back to this idea of like, dude, you're not Batman. You're not righting wrongs in the world by doing this. This is just self-gratification.
Yeah.
And it's just, you got to ask yourself, like, when I was messing around with people via text, that was kind of an inside joke between me and a couple of friends who we were all doing the same thing. And we just take screenshots of it and send it to each other and just be like, oh, that's pretty funny. But that one was like, we never went, kind of just like an unspoken rule was like, we were never dickheads. We were never mean. We never like, we always kind of like, just like, okay, maybe this is a bot, maybe it's not. But you could always kind of tell when it wasn't a bot because they would respond to some insane shit that you said with like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all context stuff, but like, yeah, just screaming at somebody to scream at them because you were mildly inconvenienced. I don't get that.
Crazy, especially just for them just calling you. I understand if you're on the phone with like, I don't know, trying to get your internet to work and they're not like, I get being like, I get your emotions being heightened around that because it's very frustrating when you're on like a million calls, like you're on hold for the longest time. Like, but even then I never lose it on those people, but to just do it to telemarketers. But obviously this one's very different. A lot of people in the comment were like, they're just doing their job too. And it's like, okay, well, do you think all scammers who have these jobs, like, do you think they know, most of them know they're scammers, or do some of them genuinely think they're just like telemarketers?
As far as I know, most of the people who are doing scamming are calling from call centers from overseas because that's where it's cheapest to do this work. And in those situations, I just assume you are doing what you need to do to survive.
Yeah.
Because people who are taking the jobs, the way that the scamming works, I'm not an expert on this, but I've watched a couple of, news infos about this kind of thing.
Okay.
The people who are doing this aren't like struggling actors who are working 2 or 3 jobs to get by. That's telemarketing. You'll see that. The people who are in these butcher scams, I might be misusing the phrase. It's something close akin to that. They are people who are very, very hard up for work and need to find funds any way they can in
Yes.
environments that are completely different from anything I've ever experienced in my life. So I
Oh.
think that whether or not they know they're scamming or not, they know that their situation is dire enough that they will do anything they need to
Yeah.
have money to get by.
So even if they do know the scam,
It's, I mean, at a certain point, it's just like, well, you have to make peace with yourself if you're doing that. And I just like, somebody smashed out my car window once and took a bunch of shit out of it. And my choices were, well, I can be really mad at this person that I'm definitely never going to see again because the police aren't going to fucking catch this guy. Or I can just accept, like, fuck, I have to assume that my life is in a much better place than this person. And I hope eventually they're not in the situation that they're in anymore.
Yeah.
It's valid to be angry at that person, but like, I'm never going to see them again.
right?
They're never going to meet me. They didn't know the person they
I
were doing
know.
this to.
I try and remember that too sometimes, like if I get robbed or I lose something that was valuable. And
Yeah.
like sometimes I'm like, oh, well, I hope that the person who either found it or did
Yeah.
the robbing needed it more than me.
This is neither here nor there, but I think you would find it interesting. Do you remember when we were in Joshua Tree and I got that sick gold ring with the tiger eye and like the little like the trees
Yes.
and it fit me perfectly, right?
Mhm.
I lost it at a concert last week. I
Oh.
put it in the bin for metal detector
Oh.
and I just
you forgot it.
forgot because we were
Damn
like I was
it.
trying to catch it and I just didn't think about it.
Ugh.
And I was
Did you try calling?
you know what, I didn't because it's the Palladium. It's fucking slammed. Like
Yeah.
maybe I'll
You
ask
should.
next time.
Do a lost
Yeah,
and
maybe
found.
somebody turned it into the lost and found.
I would call. You never know.
But it was one of those things where like I'm there with my friends. I'm at this show and I just made the conscious decision of like easy come, easy go.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was kind of my like everyday ring that I liked wearing because I liked the way it looked or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're right. I should call. I should at
Yeah,
least
you
put in an
should.
effort.
You might as well.
But I remember I think part of it was just like making the decision in the moment of like, I'm not going to be upset about
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
I lost something that I really liked. It wasn't like, the ring that my grandfather left to me,
Right,
right?
that's a
Like that
different
would be
story.
different. I would have like gone back. I would have like spent the evening
Yeah,
trying to find it.
Fuck this concert.
But this was something that's just like, okay.
Yeah.
And I think that mentality still applies to what we're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Where it's just like you kind of just have
You
to
have
have
to just
this
let it go to
attitude
the
of like,
universe.
I'm gonna let this go.
But that's why it's like so, because I would imagine that the people that are doing the scam calling, maybe I'm making this up, but 9 times out of 10 are the people who they're not the ones that are like making the buku.
No, they're not.
bucks.
No, they're not. And that's the thing is like you can fuck with them all you want. You have changed nothing.
Yeah.
You're just wasting their time and they're just going to move on to the next call where it works. And I'm
Right.
not.
And maybe it is delaying them, like scamming it.
Yeah,
but it's
but
just
while they're
delaying them
doing that,
20
there's
minutes.
60 other people in the row in the warehouse that they're in of
Yeah,
people
yeah,
doing the
yeah.
same thing. So if you're doing it because you think you're doing a good thing for society, let that go.
Yeah. it's
You're not having that impact. And it's like, I guess if you get some joy out of this, okay. Like,
Yeah.
but that's a weird thing to have to watch your partner do.
I think with this one it was the mom, but yeah, doesn't matter.
To watch
either
your
way.
to watch your child do that.
Yeah.
It's weird to have to watch somebody you care about engaging in that because you clearly have things in your life that you feel out of control over and you're
Mhm.
trying to simulate the sense of control somewhere. So
But do you think it's different if you and your friends doing it and him doing it? Because
I think it's different because it's text and we're not taking up 20 minutes of somebody's time. We're sending 3 gag text messages in the span of a minute.
And probably their responses are like automated, don't you think?
Yeah, that too is just like you kind of figure out pretty quick. This is also not a hobby for me. I want to get ahead of anybody being like, oh, well, this guy's a hypocrite. Because it's like, I maybe did this 4 times.
Yeah.
And it was just because it was just a bit that was funny to me and 2
With
other
your
friends for
and also you're
roughly a month.
like OP, you're wasting your own time too.
That part, right? Like it's, oh man, I hate the phrase that part. But
That
it's just
part.
like that is true that like you are also wasting your time. You have better things to be doing.
Exactly. Well, there was a few different like some people went NTA, some people went YTA. It's just a normal person on the other side of the line with a crappy job. Which I guess, I guess it kind of really my decision kind of hangs on if like these people are the direct scammers or are they just like people trying to live their like trying to make
There's also a very
meet.
thin line between I think there's a very thin line if you're justifying this off of like what you're doing is wrong and like your job isn't even like, I don't care if this is just somebody trying to do their job. Your job is stupid.
Yes.
There's such a thin line between that and being shitty to a server because they had a bad attitude towards you.
Yeah.
That at least you're doing it to somebody's face and you're putting your face on it, as we were saying, right? But there is still just this little touch of elitism to it where you are positioning yourself as, I'm better than these people. And it's like, I don't know, man. I just maybe they are shitty scammers who actively enjoy screwing over old people who are confused and don't know what they're signing up for. Like, maybe, have you ever watched the movie The Beekeeper?
No.
Oh my God, it's so stupid, but it's amazing. Like, I gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd. It's one of the dumbest
really?
movies. It's one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen. It's 5 stars in the way that it's it's horrible, but I have such a good time watching it every time.
Oh.
The core of that plot is about somebody taking it to scammers who are going after the most vulnerable of the elderly in society or whatever. And it's very clearly David Ayers trying to like get through his frustration with this very particular topic.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. It's very dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that fantasy of making an impact in the world by taking out this, caustic, shitty element of society that you don't like, it's just that. It's a fantasy.
Yeah.
You're not, if you really care about this, get into some kind of nonprofit or effort to mitigate it and to end it and to stop it. If you're not willing to get on the phone and get signatures for a petition to change laws about this, you don't actually care about it that much.
I guess that's the moral of this entire episode is like figure out better ways to be a vigilante.
To be a vigilante. Don't be a vigilante. We got to go on record real quick right here, everybody, right here. Look me in the eyes. Get on YouTube. If you're listening to this, get on YouTube. Look me in the eyes. Do not be a vigilante. D is for Drama Incorporated does not condone vigilantism.
Not up on that. But if you're going to be one, be a better one.
Be ethical. Use your time more effectively.
Figure out a better way.
If it really is about being mad that there's alt-right manosphere assholes that are being sexist online, if you really are mad that there's no laws protecting communication methods on social media, if you really are mad about telemarketers scamming people, figure out a way to address that problem as a whole instead of you just using it as an excuse to indulge in being an angry, mean person.
Yes. Good. Yes. Let's end it there.
We got there.
I like that.
We got there.
Yes, Jakey. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for coming on.
Shannon, anytime.
Anytime. Well, we know my shenanigans love Jakey T.
They're the best.
They're the best. Thank you guys so much for listening. Remember to rate, review, subscribe, watch us on YouTube, and remember you can't spell drama without D.
Can't spell drama without D.
And don't be a troll.
I'm the little bird. I'm back.
But if you're gonna be a troll, be one with a gem on your belly button.
It's me. I'm the other troll. I'm one of the other trolls. My name's Star Spangle. I'm not
Star Spangle.
I'm different.
But I'm Splat. Star Spangle and Splat.
We're gonna start a spin-off podcast. We're new characters.